Well, first, thank you for having me here, Rebs. Um, hey, I'm Klen. I've been on Halo since Halo 3, then Halo Reach, a bit of Halo 4, then I completely stopped. I just did the campaign of Halo 5, and now I'm back on Halo Infinite, and yeah, I've been forging on the league build for about 3 weeks.
Last week, I shared your Halo Infinite Forge playable boss creation, and it blew up. I mean, I got retweets from, I don't know if you saw this, two 343 industry employees. They loved it, and everyone else who watched it loved it, mainly because it proved the question I had for a while, ever since I started sharing the Infinite Forge videos, of whether or not you can create or allow your creations in Forge to move and become interactive and become, like you created, a playable boss. So I'm very glad you were able to create that and show everyone that it is possible with Halo Infinite Forge. So I guess we're gonna, base this interview around that creation and maybe future ideas. So for my first question, um, regarding your playable boss. How long did it take to create this?
So it all started when the Forge mode got leaked. I started to see stuff online about it. It was pretty cool, but I just left it on the side. I was, yeah, someone will probably do something cool with it. And a month passed, and I didn't see any impressive. I see really cool stuff made, but I didn't see any impressive stuff like making a full AI and whatever. So I just woke up one day and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. So I downloaded the the leaked build and I started up and I started to play around, see what was possible. And when I was confident with the tool, I started to make it. And it didn't took long to do because it wasn't a complicated AI at all. It's just move, look, and shoot. So I didn't really time myself, but if I if
Mm.
I would say it took around, I don't know, maybe 8 hours, a bit more, to debug, to
Okay.
yeah, with all the crashes. That took a long time
Hmm.
also to remade everything I did that didn't save, but it didn't took long to do itself.
Hmm. Now, because the Forge build is a leaked build that was, running on the build that was for the co-op flight, that's why there's bugs. It's not a finished product, and hearing it took 8 hours might seem long to some people, but to create something, a script like that that allows for your object to become a playable boss, along with all the crashes and stuff, 8 hours is, it seems to me at least, to be a pretty quick amount of time and quite impressive. And what's also impressive to me is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said, you just kind of decided, you have some experience with Halo going back to Halo 3, but you kind of just decided to, dive into Forge and create this. And now, were you able to do this because you have previous experience with, computer programming? I'm not sure what the right term is, but do you have any type of previous experience that helped you create this script?
Yeah, so I'm a software engineer. Uh, so that whole logic for the script was kind of easy for me. I also, played around with building video games, uh, made couple of like 2D video games from scratch, and also played around with Unreal Engine. So all this was pretty easy for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it was easy because uh, I'm a software engineer and I know, the theory. For someone that is uh, brand new with scripting, with computer logic, uh, it would be not so easy.
Yeah, and that brings me. Oh, you pretty much answered it. My next question was going to be, for the average Joe like myself who hasn't used Forge in quite a long time, how complicated it would be to create such a thing. You know, when you don't have that experience, and going off what you said, it wouldn't be as easy, obviously. But I guess a better question would be for general scripting and understanding how to do basics with scripting. Do you think it will be easy enough for the average Joe like myself to learn how to use?
Yeah, for basic scripting, moving an object when you click a trigger or creating simple game modes should be pretty easy. But one cool
Mhm.
features is the prefabs. So we're going to be able to share prefab and script inside prefabs. So what's going to happen for sure is that there is going to be on the internet uh, a huge amount of pre-made scripts that I hope will be easy to use, that people will be able to download and insert into their map. And it should be, in theory, should be ready to play, uh, should work. Um, and probably in the future, uh, I mean, I plan on doing a bunch of prefabs for AI, battle, etc. So probably when this will be online, anyone can just make a map, download that prefab, and he should just have AI in their map.
Yeah, and that's great to hear. And that reminds me, if you saw the first Forge fundamentals video, they spoke about being able to save Forge prefabs and for other people to use in theirs. Now, if you happen to know, I completely forget off the top of my head. I'm not sure if they were referring to the scripts that you can save and then use for other people, or they just meant like the objects you create would be able to be saved as a prefab and used for someone else. But regardless, if you're able to, you know, if you create an object with script and then save it, I'm assuming that means that yes, you can save it and allow other people to use. Did you happen to see the Forge fundamentals video and what I'm referring to?
The first one I barely see it because it was the showing the
Hmm.
just the object and I already saw them, so I wasn't too interested. I saw the second one a bit.
Mhm.
Was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
if you decide to, that first video seems to explain further what you were just explaining with being able to save prefabs and use allow other people to use, and which is regardless if it's just for a simple object or an object with a script created for it. Regardless, being able to save prefabs for other people is great to hear. Now, going back to your creation, the playable boss. Is it possible to create, or would it be too challenging or easy enough to create multiple playable bosses for one map in Forge?
Oh yeah, definitely it would be possible. The only problem right now on the leaked build is that there's a size limit of the file. And
Mm,
for instance, my the map I did for the boss is just right under the limit. So it would
mm.
be right now on the leaked build. It would be kind of hard to have two bosses, but on the release one, it should be, yeah, it will be definitely possible. Especially that they will share just the same script, so should be easy to
Mm.
set up multiple bosses anywhere you want.
Okay, and um, in terms of creating, like, so the reason I asked that was because after people saw your video, the main question was, oh, can we create like an entire quote unquote campaign mission from Halo into Forge, and but what they meant was creating multiple bosses, playable bosses in Forge. And like you said, it all depends on the object limit for the final release of Forge, which will determine how much you can create at once for one map. So I'm very excited to see what the final build will allow us to create. I mean, just having one playable boss in a custom game map would be incredibly fun. But of course, if you could create like a whole mission style custom game with multiple bosses, that would be exciting as well. So when the final build does come out, do you have further plans to create such a map, more playable bosses, or are you focusing on something else?
So I already started to create a full mission, but because of the size limit of the league build, that project just died. But I started to create a basic component for a future full mission. Uh, so I won't say too much in detail, but there will be a little intro, quote unquote, cinematic, then a few little mobs to take care of, some puzzle to resolve, and at the end, a full on battle. So that's definitely something I will do as soon as the build release. Uh,
Mm. Yeah, and we had you messaged me and kind of teased this next creation, and hearing what it's going to be about is very exciting because it was literally what I was just talking about, creating this entire mission-esque or mission in Forge and with playable bosses and objectives. I've shared some a Forge video from Pete. I forget his full. This is horrible. I forget his full Twitter username, but my followers will understand. Anyway, he created a map in Forge where you collect orbs, and when you collect it, you place the orb in these slots, and when you collect all the orbs and place them down, a door opens. So it kind of goes off what you were saying with creating objectives and stuff, and I can't wait to see what you end up creating. Now, another question I had regarding your boss was I know a lot of the scripts I've seen, like there was an AC 130 kill streak created from Call of Duty, created in Forge that shoots the fusion coils at targets, and with your boss, it shoots fusion coils as well. Um, have you tried other ways of allowing your objects to attack people with using different objects? Have you played around with that at all?
so unfortunately, which it's really disappointing, you can't with the script system just shoot whatever projectile you want from any weapon. That would be great if you
Mm,
could just shoot a rocket or I don't know, a sniper bullet or whatever. You can't. So
mm,
the easy way that we found is to just launch a fusion coil on the player and that do the job. But I think I haven't tried it yet, but it's something I will try before the release of the of Forge to build an energy beam, a bit like the Scarab uh,
mm,
or Hunters. I will try to do this. I think it's possible. I'm pretty convinced that it's possible. So that's something
mhm.
to look out for.
Yeah, I should have clarified. Yeah, I'm sure it is possible with these other objects. I've just, like I said, seen really only the fusion coil being used as the weapon for these objects. But I've seen, there's the kill ball, there's lightning, weather effects that actually, cause damage to players and vehicles. And yeah, I'm sure there are other objects you can use as the weapon per se for your playable boss. So yeah, I can't wait to see what you and others decide to try out and end up creating. So that's very exciting as well. Um, and I guess I'll let you speak about anything you want after this last question I have for you. Um, In terms of Forge overall, I know it's the leak build. I know there's crashes and stuff, but based on what you've experienced with Forge, do you think are you or basically are you 100% satisfied with what we're receiving with Forge mode in Halo Infinite? Is there anything that you dislike? Yeah.
Yeah, so that Forge mode is a blessing for custom games and for Halo Infinite in general. It's basically a game engine uh, in the game. We will, because of the scripting system, we will be able to really make incredible stuff. Now, it's not a perfect tool. Um, there's a the script system give us a lot of function, but it's not fully complete. Uh, there is a lot of missing basic stuff. For instance, you cannot create a function that you can reuse easily everywhere. A lot of uh, game engine and visual scripting tools usually provide those type of functions that you can make. Here, it's a shame that you don't have it. There's also a lot of missing nodes that it's pretty sad to see that they're missing because they're really fundamentals. Just the top of my head, just the fact that you cannot invert a boolean value easily. That's pretty sad. Unless I didn't saw it, but I don't think there is. But besides those negative points that hopefully will get resolved in the future, with since it's going to be a beta, I hope that they will add more nodes and features. But besides those inconveniences that are in the end minors, it's just going to be a bit more work on our side. It's not the end of the world. I think it will bring so much possibility to the game. We'll be able to basically do any type of game mode we want, any new experience we want. I don't want to say this, but we might just don't need 343 anymore to add content if we're gonna hopefully create so much content that I hope it will revive the game. Uh, I'm hopeful. I remember back in Halo 3, we didn't had any custom game browser or anything, and we still managed to have the time of our lives just by going into forums and downloading the game mode. So I hope that it will be the same case.
To summarize what you just said, so besides from some what you refer to as basic nodes or whatever that may be missing, overall Forge, like you said, is a blessing, and I do agree with you. I think it will revive the game, especially or at least at first. I'm sure a ton of people are going to come back to it because if Halo Infinite released with custom games and Forge when it, along with the campaign and multiplayer when it first came out, there would the player base would still be going strong, and I'm sure of it with this Forge mode, and I'm really sure that it's going to definitely bring a ton of people back, including myself. Halo was, like you said, I've never had so much fun on a video game. Um, aside from like Halo is my favorite game of all time, and the reason was because of custom games and Forge. And I never thought I'd ever take a break from Halo Infinite or just stop playing suddenly after it was released, but that's what happened, unfortunately, because it's missing not only Forge and custom games, and this is another topic, but some modes for multiplayer, and it was mainly for me the Forge and custom game aspect, which kept me from continuing to play. And I haven't played in quite a long time, but I will be returning with when Forge releases. Now, I actually did have one more question before I let you say anything else that you want to speak about. When you're creating a script, when you open up that what do you call it? The screen where you see the script being created, the node graph, or is that referring to something
Yeah,
else?
I think it's called a node graph.
Node graph. Okay, let's call it the node graph. Is there a limit to how big the script can be, or can you just keep creating more or adding more and more to the script? Or is there a limit?
So yeah, on the league build right now, there's a limit of node you can put. I don't know. I don't think it's intentional. It's a bug, but after I don't know how many, but let's say 200 nodes, the game just crash. So what
Hmm.
we do, it's we create multiple uh, script node because a script node is inside a script brain and it's an object that is on the map. So you can just divide your full script into multiple script brains and call them through the global events. So that's not a problem.
Hmm.
Yeah, the size of script is not a problem. I haven't find any. I mean the one from the boss I did was pretty large and it was running just fine. So that I'm not too afraid about it.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's summarize basically everything we talked about already. So you were able to hop into Forge with your programming background, and which will help you create such a thing. But regardless of your background that you may have, you said that you believe it will be easy enough for the average person like myself who has no experience with programming or much experience with Forge to end up or to learn how to use scripts or the basic or creating basic scripts, which is great to hear. And being able to save the creations prefabs and allow other people to use them who don't have you know the experience or knowledge on how to create such a thing is great. And besides from the simple nodes that might be missing, like you said, you're very satisfied with Forge. And from all the content that I've shared and seen, I can say without even playing it that I'm very satisfied with Forge and can't wait to play it. And you can create um, Halo Infinite custom games with multiple playable bosses and create basically what you're going to be, what you tease for your upcoming creation with Forge's release, basically a whole campaign mission as a custom game through Forge. And that's just so exciting to hear. And again, I can't wait to see what you end up creating. So, with that said, that's a bunch of good information, and thank you for clarifying some things that people like myself who haven't been able to play Forge, you were able to clarify a lot of questions that even I had, and for I'm assuming other people who haven't played Forge. Now, is there anything else you would like to tease in terms of upcoming content that you'll be sharing, other than that creation that you already talked about?
Yeah, so I'd like to tease a mode that I'm currently working on. It's a fan favorite. I think everyone will love it and really, really excited. Uh, it's giving me a lot of trouble with the scripting because it is what it is. Just it works on Forge modes. It's awesome, but once you launch it with the real game mode, it just breaks. So that is something I still need to figure out. But once it will be finished and I'll make a video about it, I think people, well, I'm pretty sure people will love it. So something else I want to tease also is that I joined a studio that is called Elite Forge Studio.
Mm,
So we're a group of forger, uh, and we will release maps when the release of Forge comes out, and we have already planned what we want to do, and I think people will be also really excited. We will release in about 2 weeks a roadmap of our objectives, and that will be really nice. people will really love it. So that's also something else I wanted to talk about.
Awesome, man. And funny enough, I'm actually, well, Elite Falcon reached out to me. This was weeks ago, and Insanely Demonic, who you may know, another forger, and asked me to be a playtester, and I accepted. So I'm actually technically a part of Elite Forge Studios with you. And my problem is they've been their play testing dates and events they've been holding. Um, they required you to be on PC to actually run this leaked Forge build and to try things out. And unfortunately, I'm only on Xbox, and I didn't have the right setup to be able to play test anything yet. However, when Forge does release, I will be sure to test out as many creations as the studio creates as possible. And it's also, I may have seen this announcement or maybe I missed it, but I'm glad to hear that you're part of this group with me as well. And I'll make sure to be more active in the Discord. That's another thing. I'm on Discord, but I'm not on it frequently. So I'll make sure to check back in with the group ASAP and tell them I talked to you and we'll let them know once our interview is up. But yeah, man, that's some exciting stuff. I look forward to this roadmap, and of course the other content that you are creating and will share. So other than that, man, that's all I had to ask of you. I just wanted to really know the possibilities that are possible with creating playable bosses in Forge, and you answered those, and I can't wait to see this mission, this custom game mission that's being created. It's just very exciting stuff. And that boss you create alone would bring a ton of people back. If they could just have one custom game where they're playing a playable boss, that would bring back a ton of people alone just with your creation. And I just can't imagine what other stuff is possible with the final build. And your creation, all the Forge creations I've shared, honestly, are super cool, impressive. Not only is your creation super cool, but it's one of the most impressive creations I've seen yet in this leaked Forge build. And that's why I think it blew up so much because it truly allows for so much like Halo itself with all the other games had so much content, but for this Forge mode for Infinite is allowing even more and so much more. It's hard to fathom that, but it's true, and we've seen that with your creation. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see what else is coming out. Thank you for being the first uh, interviewee of my series, and I think this went great, and I can't wait for people to listen to it. So, if there's anything else you would like to say, go for it. If not, we can end it here. And thank you again, man.
Yeah, thank you to having me. And yeah, thank you for all the forgers also that have been doing incredible stuff on Twitter. It's mainly where I see it, also on YouTube. But yeah, everyone's making really good content, good scripts, and also beautiful maps. So it's gonna be awesome once it releases, and I'm really excited. I'm also really excited to maybe do some collab with some people if they want to do. I'm open for that. If you need a
Yeah, yeah. I comment. I forget. Oh, I commented under Infinite. Was it Infinite Forges? One of their tweets, or one of their creations, and I said you need to link up with Klen to allow him to create a playable boss for that map, or just create something along those lines. Because if you team up with a forger who is awesome at creating environments, and then they include your awesome scripts to make their map come to life, basically is really the only thing they're missing. So I really do hope you end up collabing with other forgers and being a part of Elite Forge Studios. That'll definitely allow you to communicate, as you know, and reach out to some of them and collab with them. So yeah, I can't wait to see that. And thank you again, Klen. And thank you to everyone for listening in. This was the first interview. I'll make sure to get better at my questions, the speaking, the amount of time. But if you stay tuned throughout the whole thing, thank you very much. And I will be sure to announce the next interview, the next person who I'll be interviewing, and hope you all look forward to that.